The war in Ukraine has revolutionized politics and shaken the atmosphere of trust in the Nordics and across Europe. Enterprises and organizations have been exiting their operations in Russia and stopped collaboration with the aggressor. Finland and Sweden have applied for membership in NATO. Collaboration within the European Union has been tightening, and support to Ukraine has taken many forms. The uncertainty is reflected in the behaviors of the citizens. Let's call the year 2022 an anno horrible, a horrible year. How can we scientifically prove the feelings and the state of mind of the citizens? T-Media has applied the reputation and trust method among various stakeholders for 10 years. Last year, the results reflected a significant change. The key findings in 2022 point out a clear change in stakeholders' expectations from ethical and moral perspectives, as well as in their trust towards enterprises and public organizations. How did the war in Ukraine impact the reputation of companies in Finland?
We have measured people's values for more than 20 years. For the last 10 years, we have specialized in measuring reputation and trust with our sophisticated method. Our huge data bank shows that compared to previous years, there have been dramatical changes and big impacts on the reputation of companies in Finland and in the Nordics. During 2022, in general, companies in Nordic, those with direct ties to Russia or even to Belarus have suffered severe reputational damage. Every year, we measure the reputation for top-mind companies which people consider to have a very good or very poor reputation. In 2022, there were several new companies in the bottom 10 list. Typically, ones that have been doing business in Russia, and especially companies that have been too slow to withdraw their businesses from Russia, or they have not condemned Russia's actions. However, even companies that for many years have been in top 10 of the most reputable companies have now suffered reputational damage. Stakeholders' expectations have changed, and the companies have not been able to react, and therefore 8 companies out of 10 most reputable had declining reputation in Finland. This is something we have never seen before. Spending power is declining. In the big picture, there is a demand and increasing pressure for ethical manner of conducting business. It's noteworthy that the companies that were able to improve their reputation managed exceed people's expectation in the turbulent atmosphere, and especially they were able to increase their reputation in governance and in responsibility themes.
How has the war impacted the reputation of public organizations in Finland?
Last year, we measured the reputation of nearly 100 public sector organizations, and generally speaking, public sector organizations have lost their reputation, just like companies. People expect more, and the same level of performance is no longer enough. However, there are big differences depending on the organizations and their roles. Especially organizations with a direct role in defense, safety, and security have been able to improve their reputation. For example, among those we measured, the biggest improvement in reputation was for the Finnish Defence Forces and for the Ministry of Defence. Moreover, Finnish Border Guard was able to enhance their reputation, and their reputation was the best among all public sector organizations in Finland. These organizations have gained a lot of publicity, and they have used it wisely. Why? Because they have been open and transparent and have communicated it in a clear way in several channels and with several spokespeople. Moreover, the audience notices that these organizations have been prepared for all kinds of scenarios. The situation was totally different than in the beginning of COVID-19. Those who were supposed to take the lead then and responsibility were neither prepared for the increased demand of information nor ready to fulfill the real job they were supposed to do.
What is the situation in other Nordic countries? Is the trend the same?
We have applied the reputation and trust model in more than 20 languages and in more than 40 countries. But the largest data banks we have currently from the Nordic countries, and the trend seems to be exactly the same as in Finland. For example, in Sweden, among the 10 most reputable companies, only 2 companies were able to increase their reputation. The situation is exactly the same as in Finland. And there are also other similarities. In nearly every Nordic country, there is a company from the energy industry within the 10 companies with the lowest reputation.
How has the turbulent state of the world affected people's behavior and trust?
The turbulent state of the world has led to wide changes in people's behavior. Some studies show that the changing nature of the world has led to increased stress and anxiety level. People are more cautious with their spending. House prices are decreasing and so on. What our research clearly shows is the decline of trust towards companies and organizations. But the most important thing to remember, reputation has an emphasized and increasing impact on trust and stakeholder support. Even a small change in the reputation leads to a wide and big impact on behavior. This is the reason why reputation should be managed. In Western societies and democracies, we can't force people to trust. We have to earn it.
Who do citizens trust and regard as ethical players in turbulent societies today?
According to our research findings, people tend to trust family-owned businesses and steady industrial companies, which are needed to keep infrastructure of societies ongoing. On the other hand, as mentioned, citizens in the Nordics rely on security authorities. Leaders who are followed and respected use researchers' knowledge and the fact-based information in their speeches or comments. Citizens' assessments are sharp in times of crisis. They accept moral leadership beyond self-interest. Moreover, our reputation and trust model, it includes 8 different dimensions of reputation. For each customer in each Nordic countries, we have measured all those 8 dimensions. And moreover, we have been able with data analytics to prioritize which of those has the biggest impact on the stakeholder support and trust. In these times of crisis, we have found out that in Finland, in Norway, and in Denmark, the most important dimensions are governance and responsibility, meaning that being open and transparent and also taking account environment and society in business. In Sweden, governance and responsibility are among the 4 most important dimensions, but there the workplace and good leadership has the biggest impact on stakeholder support.
How would you summarize the Nordic reputation and trust data from the ethical and moral perspectives?
Reputation and trust method includes also ESG perceptions. Our metadata from 2022 shows that reputation built over decades can suddenly evaporate in times of crisis. But those companies, high reputation and trust, can manage and recover soon despite of challenges. These companies and organizations know what their stakeholders and citizens think and expect. They measure and improve actions and behavior regularly. They admit mistakes and strive to make high moral decisions.
What advice can you give to the enterprises and organizations based on this? What should they consider in their communications and actions?
If you want to maintain or increase your reputation and trust among stakeholders during these kind of turbulent times, there are a few crucial factors to pay attention to in performance and also in communications. First, be open and transparent about your operations, policies, and decision-making processes. Do not hide mistakes. Be bold. Face the truth. Secondly, encourage honest dialogue with stakeholders and be willing also to listen to feedback and respond. Third, provide also value. Focus on delivering value to your stakeholders, whatever people expect. Best organizations can respond to stakeholder expectations. And last but not least, the world is changing. Make sure to measure and track the thoughts and expectations of your key stakeholders. Listen to them and develop your performance based on evidence, not just gut feelings. And to summarize, building trust requires a combination of transparent communication, accountability, and commitment also to ESG themes. By demonstrating these values and behaviors, companies and organizations can increase trust and strengthen their relationship with their key stakeholders.